Welcome to another edition of Crime Watch. I'm Mark Crosby. Thank you for joining us. Joining me today via Zoom is Lieutenant Dan Minton of the Quincy Police Department. Dan, welcome. This is certainly a different way for us to conduct interviews, but everyone's doing it now.
Well, it's still a good thing to get the word out. We're working together to help the community understand what's going on a little bit, especially the scams.
With the pandemic that we are experiencing now, unfortunately, that has opened up even more scams.
Unfortunately, these scammers, they're always looking for a new way to attack good people, try to get their money, whether it be through Social Security or other agencies. So when this virus came around and they looked at this, they said, we can impersonate Social Security, federal agencies, and we can use a new angle based upon people's fear.
This is a time where everyone is so concerned about their health, the health of their loved ones. It's a state that we're in that is very fragile. So unfortunately, there are people out there that take advantage of that.
True, and the nice thing is that through our show together, Mark, numerous people have called me and asked about different scams and saying, the old line is that agency's going to come, they're going to shut down your benefits. You're not going to get monies unless you give us your personal information over again. And it's great that people call. A lot of people are in panic mode. They're very upset. They're very uptight. A lot of anxiety going on. And through your program or my program, we get the word out and we prevent at least some victims anyway.
Just give out the phone number to the police department if anyone has any concerns, anything we haven't touched upon, or they want more information of things that we have touched upon today. They are welcome to call.
The best person to reach out to is obviously me, the crime prevention officer, Lieutenant Dan Minton, at 617-745-5719, or at my email, dminton@quincyma.gov. Only one dot on that whole line.
The number of scam reports.
So the FTC is saying that since January, there have been about 20,000 scam reports, and that's just related to the virus. And that's just January, and that probably is not up to date through March. So these things continue. We keep hearing about them. With the mail, it's just one method of reaching out to you. But when you're talking about a live call, they can put all sorts of pressure on you. They can connive you. They can convince you that it's a legit offer, and they get you on the phone, and they can go after you like that.
So let's start with robocalls, because everybody is familiar with robocalls.
So the robocalls are basically computer generated, and what happens is that they have software technology that they can call hundreds of people at the same time. So what happens is that as soon as a live voice comes on, many times if it's a live caller, that person will start talking to you and making the offer to you, or they might be scamming you by saying they're from the Social Security or Medicare or other federal agency, or even state or local agency. And once they get you on there, they're going to try to get you to give up your personal information or maybe buy something from them. And once they get you, they will continually call you, and maybe a month later, or they may actually, what is called a mooch list, sell your name to somebody else so that they can also scam you too.
Technically, they're illegal?
They are illegal. The only way that they are allowed to call you is you give them permission. And based upon how many calls people are getting, who in their right mind is going to give them permission?
And live calls.
The live calls, basically it's an automatic dialer. And like I say, when you say hello, that software knows that you're a live person, and that's when that person is going to be talking to you. A simple method that I've seen work very well, and I do it all the time, because I get these calls at the station. Incredibly, these scammers are calling, and you know that it's a automated caller, is because when you look in my iCaller ID, it says Quincy Police Department. So they're calling me, and I even say, crime prevention, Lieutenant Minton, and a lot of times you'll get you can hear the process going on, some little faint noises in the back, and then they'll say, they'll start talking, making their solicitation. But one of the ways you can do this, I want those calls, so I want to learn from them so I can let the public know. But one of the things that you can do is not say anything. If you don't say anything, somebody during that time is going to pick up that call out of the hundreds and hundreds of robocalls they're making, and that's going to be their victim. So you may find that within 5 seconds, either one or two things are going to happen. The legit person on the other end is going to start saying, hello, how are you? And Madeline, how are you? Are you there? Or it's going to hang up because they got somebody else.
Yeah, that's a good point to that kind of span of time, that dead space, because, again, people can relate to that. They can relate to having received these calls and have this kind of dead space from when they picked up the receiver to when the first word was spoken.
Exactly.
A tip on the robocall, and let's talk about pressing numbers when you're directed to do so.
So on a robocall that you don't have a live person, but you actually have the recorded message, a lot of times they'll make the solicitation in the recorded message, and they'll tell you if you're no longer interested, you hit 2. And if you are interested, hit 1 to get a live person. So by hitting 1, you are telling the robocallers that you are a live person, the actual number is accurate, and they're going to have that information. And again, they're going to call you and call you and call you, and they're going to sell your name to other people because you did pick up. If you hit 2 and it says you will no longer receive these calls, do not hit 2. Because again, you are now verifying that you are a legit person and you listen to the message, and that's someone that they may be able to scam down the road. And again, your name's going to be stolen. So the best avenue is hang up. Mark, if I can't say this enough, I could have started off the show and said to you, just tell the people, hang up, and the show will be over. We could have ended this in 20 seconds.
Right.
But unfortunately, people do pick up and they listen to the offers. And unfortunately, the biggest victims are seniors because they were raised to be very polite and never hang up on someone. Whereas a lot of people now would say, it's a scam, just hang up and don't even answer the phone.
Let's talk about, I guess, the new angles, because there's always new angles that are being, I suppose, put in play, and scammers are using new avenues to basically get their scam across. Let's talk about scammers pretending to be federal agencies.
Okay, this is gone rampant, and it's the whole process is very confusing to almost anybody who's trying to get stimulus money from one agency, how much. And so again, these scammers look at this and they say, hey, we can get you this money faster. And then what they're calling these, they're saying they're from Medicare, Social Security, or any federal agency that they want to make up. And they're offering a COVID-19 kit or the coronavirus package or Medicare benefits related to the virus. And what they're trying to tell you is we can get you that money a lot faster. However, we're going to need your personal information like your bank account, Social Security number, Medicare numbers. And the thing you have to keep in mind is we want you to hang up. It's very simple. Just hang up, because the agencies that I just mentioned to you, they do not call you. Federal agencies, state agencies, even local agencies, if they're doing anything with money, they're going to send you a letter first, and they want you to call them. And you got to keep in mind, as we all know, Mark, is that if they're asking you for a Social Security number, they are Social Security. They know that information. If they ask you for your mother's maiden name, that's not real damaging. But if you're really concerned that it's not legit, don't call back that number. You hang up, look up the number of Social Security, and say, hey, you're looking for me? Simple thing. And they'll say, no, we're not looking for you at all. And, they have a record. They keep very meticulous records. and they'll tell you, no, we're not looking for you. Now you know it's a scam. No crime has occurred, attempted crime possibly, but I would certainly love to know about that because that way I can pass it on to other people when I go around in different groups or doing a show like this.
Fraudulent products. I mean, people are looking for face masks. They're looking for gloves.
Yeah, the FTC, the FFC, they both commented on this, that all of a sudden there are companies that are elevating prices for legit products and also for products that are well below levels that you should be using. That has come out with some of the products from China and other foreign countries saying that these are good products, you can use these. They're using similar or same names of actually legit companies that like a 3M might be making a product. So you have to be really careful for that. The reason you have to be careful is that obviously you're going to lose money, but for your own safety and well-being, you're using a product that they claim is 100% protection, and it might be only 20%. So you put yourself at risk.
Testing kits, same thing.
Yeah, testing kit. So that's another new category, and the testing kit supposedly will test you, and they can go door to door, claiming that they have testing kits. So they may dress up in a suit, they may come with some equipment that makes it look like they're legit. And again, one of the things that we always talk about is that if you're living in a residential home and someone's knocking on your door during the day, we stress this in other programs, Matt. Nobody should ever be opening their door today to talk to someone at a door because you don't know who they are. Talk through the door. I'm not talking about opening up your main door and talking through a screen. I'm talking about talk through the door. What do you want? Because anybody who's selling anything door to door, we all know we can get a Walmart for cheaper. So you don't need to open that door. Talk through the door. And if they say we're offering testing for the virus, who are they? We don't know about them. We want to know about them. Give us a call. Let us know because nobody's going door to door doing the testing. And there are legitimate centers, and those can be found online where you can actually get tested if you're concerned about that. Calling Ruth Jones, who's been on the show numerous times, does a fantastic job. If she's on top of everything going on in the city, give her office a call and just inquire whereabouts you can get the actual testing. That's the answer, really.
We should mention, too, that when we're talking about door-to-door sales, anyone that comes to your door needs to be registered, correct? I mean, they're supposed to be registered with the local police department.
That's correct. They have to go to City Hall first, or they have to pay a fee, a $50 fee, I believe, for their permit. They have to come down here afterwards, and we do a criminal record check. And once we do that, if everything's okay, we'll issue them a photo ID. And again, people coming door to door where they're selling magazines, just because we give them the ID doesn't mean that they were in Texas, they were doing the same thing, but Texas didn't charge them with a felony or serious crime, so we might not know about that. So we're always reluctant to have anybody, even though we have to, by state law, give them the authority to go door to door with the vendor's basic license. We still want to know who's going door to door, because even though you're wise enough not to let them in, think about your neighbors. There's got to be one neighbor you'd be concerned that's vulnerable. Let's protect them too. So we're in this all together, whether it's the virus or whether it's door-to-door sales. We need to know.
Talk about this is a made-up agency, the FCC. It's not the Federal Communication Commission. It is the Financial Care Center. Totally made up.
There's no such thing. They're basically offering large amounts of money as a relief fund to consumers, and you're told the money will be sent directly to your bank account. And again, it's a scam. There's no such agency. However, for the relief stimulus funds, they are telling you that if you filed your taxes and you had your return going back to your account, that's the quickest way to get it. So people they're in dire need. They need the money, whether it be for home or business use, and they might be sucked into this type of offer of something like this, and they just want your personal information. And who knows, they might even try to scam you by saying for a fee, we can do this, for $100, and you might send that money. And again, how they ask you for the money? Well, again, if anybody's asking you to make payment through an iTunes card or the green dot or having money wire transferred, be very skeptical. Again, be done right away, and that's when you get the high pressure tactics of a live call. And you don't get fooled by that. You say, listen, I want to talk to a friend, family member, I want to talk to the police. If it's Sunday afternoon, nothing has to be done. Give me a call Monday morning, leave a message. I'll get back to you. I get back to everybody, and we'll walk through it. And again, highly likely that it's a scam. And again, if it's Social Security saying we can offer this money, again, just call them. When I get scam information, now, a lot of people call me and say, I got this call and I think it's a scam. I know it's a scam. And it might be a robocall. Call this number. So I call the number, and what they have is they have software that they can put in any phone number they want. They can put in Social Security number. So don't get fooled by that. Again, don't call that number back. Call Social Security by looking up the number. And again, the software is incredible out there. They can put your number in there. And you're like, how can I be calling me? And so a lot of people are just curious, and they do that. But when people call me and give me a number, I'll check it out. And the robocall that I had you listen to earlier, that was from Texas, and it's a cell phone. I could find that out. So this person was trying to scam people by saying, "Call me at this number." Now keep in mind, a lot of agencies have employees that are working from home, but they still, if it's a federal agency, it's connected through the Social Security number and then forwarded to the employee's home. So it's not like you're going to call that robo number and get fooled.
I know my mom has had a call from her husband and my dad. He had passed away a few months prior. So the number came up on the caller ID as his phone number. Obviously, a scam.
So again, if you want a little trick with phone calls, the odd thing about telephone books is that if you want your name listed, you're basically paying for that. However, if you don't want it listed, you don't have to have it listed. But you can actually do it another way around. You can actually put in like your wife's maiden name, and so if your wife's maiden name was Smith, she would be listed as Betty Smith. So when you get a phone call at home and they go, "Hi, Mr. Smith," you right off the bat know it's a scam. So again, so there's a little trickery, and again, to reduce your chances of having to get another scam phone call.
Talk about the Better Business Bureau and the scams that are coming in through text.
Again, it's another scare tactic. The Better Business Bureau is warning, and again, every federal agency seems to be giving warnings because their names are being used, or similar, like as we just talked, the FCC Financial Care Center. So they're all giving out different warnings. But the BBB is basically saying that text messages are coming out impersonating U.S. Health and Human Services, telling recipients that there's a mandatory online COVID test and you must pay up front for it. And again, they want the personal information. So this is a double victory for a scammer. You're getting your personal information, and you're possibly going to be sending them some money.
I'm looking at what I received yesterday from a text, and it says free VZ MSG to identify important mass government and healthcare calls. You must now have Call Filter Plus. Do you know anything about that?
That's the first, so we'll talk about that one so I can get that out. But yeah, who knows? Again, somebody's impersonating Verizon possibly and putting that out there. Again, if you do pursue it, and I know you know the stuff well enough between you and I talking and doing these presentations. If you pursue it, at some point, if it's not legit, they're going to be asking you for money for your personal information. So if you're wise enough and you want to pursue it, that's great, but don't be victimized.
Charities, people feel there are people, tons and tons of people in need right now, and there are legitimate charities out there. There are people that certainly need the assistance, but there are scammers trying to use the charity as a means for their own benefit.
One of the ones that shows up very commonly looking at Facebook is a GoFundMe page. And that seems to be fairly legitimate in the sense that if you know who the person is, or a friend of yours is vouching for that person, maybe they're going out of business, there's incredible hardship at home and they have a couple of kids, and you're so inclined to give, and a lot of people are giving. It's really nice to see that. But you don't want to be victimized here either. So, as far as I understand, the GoFundMe, they keep 5%. And that's not our major deal, but it's a nice way to get people actual money. But there are scammers out there. They make up sob stories, so you got to be really careful. So make sure someone is vouching for that. That's the best way to do it. And if you're so inclined, you're in a good financial situation, you want to give money to a certain group, whether it's a veterans group or whoever, there's a site called charitynavigator.org, and I use that extensively. It's a fantastic site, and it's really simple to use. You can punch up almost any nonprofit, and they'll give you the data that will show whether the funds are going to salaries or it's actually going to services provided to the community. So I highly recommend that you take a look at that. And again, if you feel uncomfortable about that, you don't really know how to use it, give me a call. Don't have to give. Remember, there's no immediacy. Just give me a call. If I'm not in, just leave the information. Give me a telephone number, as much information as you can. If it's a return phone call, let me have that too. I can pursue it. I can tell you, and then also I can tell you who's good. We can have a lengthy conversation. For example, Salvation Army. So Salvation Army is great, but as I understand it, if you want to give to Salvation Army directly, you could actually go right down to Baxter, where the Salvation Army is, and say, here's a check. This is a check for our people. That's a great way to do it. And another agency you look at is Father Bills. Those are our people. Father Bills takes care of mainly Quincy people in surrounding towns. And so $100 there does not necessarily go to salaries because they're already paid, but it does go to services, food, clothing, medical care. So that's something you might really want to consider. And then there's Mayor Koch, who came up with a great idea. I assume it was his idea. He always has good ideas. So the Quincy Relief Fund. And again, that's going to people that need the money. And there'll be a good process being done to determine legitimate needs. And again, I'm sure they're going to use a verification system. But again, we're taking care of our people. So when you give to the United Way $100, how much is coming back to Quincy? Maybe a tenth of a penny. It's great that you can still give to the rest of the country, but you look around, you see the people in our own community that are down and out, that are struggling. You see them, you know them, you know they need it. Or you can do like me, I just give out money to the people I know need it. No tax deduction, but just give it out.
Good. Good practice.
Either.
Yeah. Talk about people portraying doctors regarding treatment. So I guess we're looking at treatment scams.
Doctors calling, saying that you need to come in, or you tested positive and you need to do another test. And here's a company that we need you to go to have further testing. And again, don't call the doctor back. Call the hospital that you were at and say, is this accurate? And they may not give you information either to verify who you are. But again, you're not calling back the number of the doctor. You're calling back the number of the hospital you were at.
Social Security scams?
We kind of touched upon a whole bunch of those, and it just keeps going on. The one that I recently got was that your payments have been suspended, and that was a robocall because of suspicious activity. You need to call this number so that we can continue making payments to you. And one of the calls was to talk to a field representative. Now, I've never, in my time of talking to Social Security, heard about a field representative. So that's a kind of a flag. And again, if Social Security tells you we're going to send the police to arrest you. And that was one of the calls that was recent. We don't arrest for Social Security. We don't arrest for Medicare, Medicaid. We don't arrest for the IRS. And speaking of IRS, if you owe the IRS money, they're not coming to the Quincy Police Department and saying, let's go, we got to get $5,000 from these people. As we all know, IRS has control of your bank account if they necessarily need it. You can notice that $5,000 is missing out of your account, and they're going to send you a letter well beforehand, and they're going to give you numerous warnings before they even take that action. So I would definitely listen to the IRS, and especially as a letter form. But again, Social Security, IRS, Medicare, Medicaid, you name the federal agency, they are not going to call you first. They're going to send you a letter, and in that letter is going to be instruction for you to call them. And they're going to have you verify who you are, because they don't want to be on the end of giving out that information. If you say to them, you know who I am, I'm calling, you asked me to call, give me a Social Security number. Yes, but you got to keep in mind, this was not a phone call asking. This is a letter from them, and they'll send you a telephone number for you to call, and in that letter might be a code. And if you're still concerned, still look up the number from a neutral site online, telephone book, and find out the actual, give me a call.
Fake virus testing centers, not a problem here in the state, but I understand in Nashville.
Yeah, it actually happened in Nashville, and you could actually understand how it could happen. That these scammers actually went around, looked at legitimate places that were doing the testing, and there's one like Community Health, and if you go up there, this is exactly what they did. They got the big white tent, and they got the same type of signage, and they dressed like the employees. They had the masks on, and they would hit people, I think it was for $240 to be tested. And you really weren't getting any test, and they were telling you, we'll send you the results. They don't care. They're just going to tell you, no, you're all set. The worst scenario is that they're probably not changing their protective gear, and if you did go in there thinking that you probably were okay, there might be a good chance with all the volume of people that were scamming, and you might come out of there testing positive. Yet you wouldn't know because they're not going to call you and tell you you were.
The stimulus checks, people are waiting for those, and there are scams connected to stimulus checks. There's, if you want, I suppose, to get your stimulus check faster, that kind of a thing?
The legitimate way of getting your stimulus check faster is not by calling any federal agency. There is if you go online, you just punch in getting stimulus check faster, and it'll pop up and show you the site that you can go to, the legit federal agency, and it's the IRS, and they will tell you much quicker than trying to contact them. They've asked the public not call because it just takes so much longer, and because this is automated, they can tell you when to expect your check. If you don't get the check in a set amount of time, you should go back to that site, and if it says it was delivered at a certain time, who knows? Someone might have gone to your mailbox and taken it out, and that's when you can give us a call too, and we can look into it, and we have phone numbers for Social Security too, so they will pick up our call a lot faster than the general public, because it's just inundated with the claims, the amount of claims that are out there.
We've been talking a lot about phone calls, texting, but certainly online. If people go online, make sure that the site that you are visiting is legitimate and secure. Right.
Again, you're looking for that little lock device up in the window to tell you that it's accurate. And I've actually gone to a couple of sites that people have showed me, and you see that little device is not up there, and a lot of times, some of them will actually say "Do not open." So make sure you look at that little window up there where the email actual numbers are, so you'll know that it's good or not good. Make sure it says .gov, and any literature you're getting, whether you're reading it online or you're getting text messages, look for errors, because in my dealings with the federal agencies, there are very few mistakes. That robocall that I got, somebody claiming to be Social Security, No, they were saying this is secure Social Security. If you do not contact us right away, we will get the police to come to you. That's not language that Social Security would first of all even use, but we'll get the police to come and get you. Now, that just doesn't happen. So you're looking for sentence structure that's online, and you can tell. And again, if there's any hesitation, don't act fast. Just give me a call.
And the phone number that folks can reach out to you.
617-745-5719 or email dminton@quincyma.gov. Only one dot.
Want folks to realize what information never to give out. What, again, I know you addressed it earlier, that personal information that can really be detrimental.
Well, if you don't pick up the phone in the first place, you don't have to worry about what list I'm going to give you about not giving out information. Social Security information, mother's maiden name, father's information, Social Security, bank account information, anything that's personal that you would protect, that you would not give out in daily life to anybody, you shouldn't be giving out. Even the bank where you have an account, don't give that. Even a routing number, don't give anything out. And if you're getting a check from a third party and it says it's a stimulus check, this is a payment, just send us back $200 for us giving you the money earlier. Don't fall for that, because when you send the $200 and you go to cash that check and your bank tells you you have to wait 4 or 5 days. When you wait 4 or 5 days, the bank calls you and says, hey, that check? It was no good. If you only lost $200, that's fantastic. Because we hear about people losing $5, $10, $15, $20,000. We're not going to be able to get it back to them, because using that software that they're using, whether it be a letter or online, whatever they're using, we're not going to be able to get it back. And even if it's from San Francisco, it's in the country, we're not sending 2 officers go out there to do an investigation to try to recover your $200. It's just not going to happen. Especially for seniors, if you get scammed by the local butcher, he gave you 10 ounces of meat as opposed to the pound, your action would be to tell everybody in the neighborhood, and that person did business with suffer. Everybody would go to somebody else. These scammers are not down the street. They're from all over the country. They're all from all over the world. Top 3 countries for scammers: Nigeria, England, Canada. So again, that's international. So even if we had the ability to even pursue somebody, say in Massachusetts, for a significant amount of money, you're talking international. We're never going to find them. We're not going to bring them to international court. We're not going to send 2 officers to Nigeria to recover $500. It's going to cost us $10,000 in flights and continuances and things like that. So if you be careful, especially if you're a senior citizen. This is your fixed account money. You're not making any more money. You're retired. It's going to be really difficult to recover that money. And if you lost $1,000, say, and you go out to dinner once a week for $20, you're not going to go out to dinner for a year to try to recover that money.
Summing this all up, don't pick up the phone if it's a call coming in. Don't click on the link if it's something that you don't recognize.
Exactly. Don't put yourself out there. And again, be rude. If somebody's making an offer, don't have to say, no, I'm not interested. Don't even say that. Just hang up. Again, these people are not your friends. They are not offering you a great deal. And again, just get rid of them. That's the best way to do it. And if you have any doubts, call a family member, a friend, someone that you know that might be in the business. Call me. Call you. You know more, just as much as I do about this now.
Thanks to you. Yeah. Dan, and as we close, I know that this may be the last episode that you and I do together because you are retiring. So I'm glad to hear you're retiring, but sad to hear you're retiring at the same time. Through the years with Quincy Access Television, you have done quite a lot of these informational programs. You have been a cartoon during Halloween safety public service announcement, actually won first place nationwide for that. So congrats again. So we will miss you, but we certainly look forward to you enjoying retirement.
Mark, it was my pleasure working with you. The benefit of us working together, we protected a lot of people out there, whether it was the most embarrassing program I did with the handbags, showing people how to hold handbags so they don't suffer injury when someone tries to pull that down. Everybody was kind of ribbing me, but the idea is here that people watched it, people were protected, and we've done a great service to the community. And after 40 years, I'm ready to retire, and I'm sure that Chief Keener will put a great person in here to continue the work.
I want to thank you for joining me today and joining us in previous programs to get the information out there. Always important information. Please stay safe during this pandemic, and your children as well. And enjoy retirement.
I certainly will. Thanks again, Mark.
Thank you.